This is, again, a space for the expo to answer questions, to kind of dispel myths, really have a conversation with people from the industry that are making things happen, but also really cut to the chase on what is reality when it comes to EVs and ownership. My name is Matt Teske, and I'm the founder and CEO of Chargeway. Our company was founded really to be a big part of that conversation, which is how to simplify the electric vehicle charging experience. So download the Chargeway app. It makes charging so simple, it's kind of like Sesame Street for charging. Really, that's kind of it. If we can get the endorsement from Sesame Street, I would really love that. But also happening in this space is I'm joined by a co-host in every single city, and this time in Seattle it is Dan O'Shea.
Happy
Dan,
to be here.
doing?
Thank you, Matt. Dan O'Shea. I've been in the EV charging business since 2010, helping people and organizations put charging infrastructure in the ground, and very happy to have been doing that, and super happy to be talking to Quincy from Electric Era, because Electric Era's got some new things that they're doing to make charging better, and we're super happy to hear about it.
Well, so yeah, Quincy, I had a chance to drop by and see your guys' facilities the other day. It was impressive to see everything in person. I think the cool thing about what we just heard is that we have a state saying, hey, by the way, you want to trust charging? Well, we just did a project with Electric Era, so that was one hell of an endorsement right there. So I guess, first of all, welcome, and also let's hear about what you guys are up to.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you came by the factory. For those of you that don't know, Electric Era is a Seattle-based company. We actually have a factory here in SoDo, just south of Starbucks' headquarters, and where we build our EV fast charging station. So that's what Matt's referring to. And by the way, love the Chargeway app. It's fantastic. It's sleek. It's sexy. If you want to use a great app and have a great app experience to find charging locations, definitely recommend the Chargeway app. But yeah, I think we've got a lot of fun things going on. As was mentioned in the previous conversation, we're building charging infrastructure all across the country. I think we're live in 10 states. We serve roughly 4,000 drivers per month, every month, and growing quite rapidly. And basically, our company was founded to make EV fast charging ubiquitous, affordable, and reliable, so that you can go on a road trip or about your life without having any sort of charging anxiety. Show of hands, who's had charging anxiety before?
Sure.
Okay, a lot of charger anxiety. Well, we're like the anxiety pill for EV drivers. We basically make the charging experience so delightful, so easy to use, that drivers love it, and they get a good charge, and it's in great locations with retail amenities on site. And we believe that's a way to accelerate EV adoption. So that's what we do. That's what we focus on.
Well, a big part of that, too, is that when you pull up at a charger, you want it to be reliable, bottom line. You want it to give you the type of charging experience you want, which is really related to wait time. There's a lot of things that go on behind the curtain that make the engineering function, and that's a big part of what your technology is really making easier, is that all the things that have to happen in the last 10 years to get where we are for infrastructure, a lot of people were kind of like deploying to deploy, like check the box, get the charger on the ground, we installed a charger. But then there's some pitfalls that go along with that your company and what your technology is providing is backstopping a lot of those things that could fail, right?
Yeah, that's right. And so for context, why we care so much about asset operation is because our team came from a world of building and launching satellites. And once a satellite's in orbit, you can't send a repair truck out there. You can't. You have to have it be reliable, usable, and it's got to work as soon as you send it up to space. And we take that same philosophy with the technology that we've developed to make our EV fast charging stations. Three important things. Fast. Speed of charge matters, of course. Every driver knows that. You guys value convenience. High reliability. When you show up, you plug in, you want it to work. It should work easily. And then high degrees of usability. You shouldn't have to fumble around on an app to try to get the charger to work and operate and have to load money into the app. You should be able to do things like walk up, tap a credit card, and have the charging station activate. Well, that's what we do. We provide drivers all three of those things. And more importantly, we build our charging stations right next to retail locations. So you can stop and grab a drink or go grocery shopping or do whatever else you want in that retail establishment. And so that's a great way to improve the overarching driver experience.
I want to paint a picture, and I want to see what you think of this. And you mentioned satellites and the reliability that's necessary. And I think that bringing the expertise from those kind of high reliability, mission-critical industries is what's absolutely needed in this business. And then you go back 10, 15 years to the original fast chargers. The manufacturers decided to put vending machine technology for payments. So the payment system for EV chargers has been the same reliability that you might expect to get your chips or a candy bar.
That's not a good strategy.
No, and I think it was done because they were all made overseas. They had to ship them. To put in like a Diebold Taps kind of ATM into it would have cost so much to ship. It would have been so heavy. And I think that some decisions were made about first cost, but they have stayed way too long. So it seems like you have just worked around that. You have gone around those pain points to provide something way sleeker, more modern, more reliable.
Yeah, that's right. And, we take that level of attention to detail to every single part on the charging station and every single part of the charging station experience. So for payments reliability, as you mentioned, it's notoriously unreliable for many other charging station companies. Well, we developed a payments software that allows us to increase it all the way up to 4 nines of reliability. So every 10,000 times you use it, it works all 10,000 times effectively. That's amazing, right? But we even take that level of intentionality to things like the cable retention system. If the big heavy cable falls to the ground and is there and it gets run over by a car, well, it's not going to work for an EV driver, right? So we think about every single part of the charging station experience exhaustively, and we work really tirelessly with a team of really top solid engineers here in Seattle to make it all aspects of it super reliable and great from the driver's perspective. Our goal is to delight drivers with our products.
One thing I want to just kind of circle back to is the background that you and your team have. As you said, you're like, we're putting satellites into space. And from an engineering perspective, that's where it stemmed from, is the understanding of how to accomplish that. That, to me, is such a very fun way to frame it, because if you look at it and think, you guys were successfully putting things in orbit that you can't service. You can't send a truck up there. If you can get that right, you better be able to get the stuff that's on Earth right. And I think that that's such a different mindset than what we've seen in the past, like you were describing, which is kind of like, it's like that scene from the movie Armageddon. He's like, by the way, I want everybody to know that this was all built by the people that were the lowest bidder. It's just like, this might not end well. And I think that was pervasive in the original infrastructure that we had. It was kind of like, no, but we can get it in the ground and we can do 6 instead of 5. Why? Don't worry about it. We'll take care of it. But what you're describing is fundamental because it's a driver-centric approach. And I think that's so important because a lot of different experiences, again, you saw a raise of hands, like, who's had concerns in the past? Plenty of people have been driving EVs for a long time can say that. What you're setting the stage for foundationally is a different strategy for how the business works, which is it's not just about getting the money in from a grant. It's not just about getting power to the location. It is about someone walking away and saying, yeah, that's what I expected. And I think that fundamentally, if that's the ethos and how your culture is at your company, my question to you is, how the hell do we expand that? How do we make it so that other networks have that same type of an ethos?
Yeah, I think, we aim to do an exceptional job ourselves and set a high watermark for the industry. And that way others can, follow our lead. And that if many other people were taking our same approach, I would be happy. I invite many more charging companies to take this same obsessive mentality to EV charging experiences because it will ultimately help their businesses. Many of our competitors don't have a great experience and their drivers are mad and they leave poor reviews. And that ultimately hurts their business. So by re-engineering our perspective, we actually align our business priorities with the driver priority. And that's a great synergy to have because without that key alignment, we're gonna have a much slower rate of adoption and fundamentally we're gonna impede getting drivers in the seat of an EV. And an EV is an exceptional experience. It's a rocket ship on wheels, as I like to say. I'm a bit of an adrenaline junkie, so that's why I purchased my EV. But if the charging infrastructure never worked, I would be a little bit less excited about that rocket ship, So with that in mind, we aim to solve kind of the edge cases, the historical edge cases of the overarching product experience, making them great so more people can purchase EVs and have that thrilling excitement of EV ownership.
What I will say about that, and I think you're exactly right, when a competitor comes in, and I've worked at big legacy OEMs, the global hardware manufacturers, and when a competitor comes in and starts doing something really, really well, the pain comes when you start losing business. So we start losing business. Who are we losing it to and why? All right. And even so, I will say that the speed with which these legacy electrical power conversion manufacturers go is not the speed of software. It's not the speed of it's not Moore's law. It is, I make a big bent metal box with a lightning bolt on it. All right, and whatever you do with it after, it's up to you. And that has to change. And what you're doing is putting something out into the market that is changing that. And I think that will get There'll be 3 levels. There'll be like you, there'll be the faster followers, and then there'll be the laggards. And those laggards will stop making EV chargers after a while, I think.
Well, I mean, and like we hear the phrase in the industry a lot, stranded asset. That's a stranded asset. Why? Because it was built with the type of mentality you're talking about, which was it was just about get something done. And I think the expectation of consumers at the end of the day is, again, they don't care about how it was done. They care about the end result, right? And we heard even early discussion of the deployment you guys did that took 8 total months? Yeah. That is, how fast do you think you can get it down if someone comes to you as a customer and says, look, we've heard about you guys, we love what your technology looks like, we want to make a move. For all the things you guys have already found a way to streamline, and there's some elements to it that you can kind of benefit from. I was talking to Lang from your company. He said, well, we deployed one really quick, but we were replacing some infrastructure that helped really kind of pave the way a bit. Is that something you think you could possibly leverage, where there are things that were installed a while ago that just, hey, this didn't pan out, but you can step in and say, well, we can still provide this as a resource here, but also get it online super fast?
Yeah, that's exactly right. One of our largest customers actually came to us and asked us to rip out a previous competitor's product and replace it with ours. We actually did that entire process in just 54 days. 54 days, which is light speed in this industry.
I was going to say, like, people are like, okay, that's like 2 months. It's like, no, you don't get it because it can take years to do that.
It's like building a house in 54 days.
Yeah, there you go. Actually, there you go.
It's like building a house and doing all the electrical and all the plumbing and all the wiring in 54 days. Not quite that intense, but that's really the scope of the project. I mean, these are large-scale construction projects with super high-voltage power running through something that's as complicated as an iPhone. You got to get every little detail right if you want it to be an exceptional experience for the driver, and if you want it to be built super fast. We do both.
Can you talk about? I think I'm going to guess that some of the, let's say you're replacing a site that had 250 kilowatt chargers. With your battery system, can you put in double the amount of ports without upgrading the infrastructure? Can you talk about that? Because that's a big money saver.
Yeah, without getting too technical, I mean, one of the kind of unknown facts about building a charging station is it basically takes about 1,000 homes worth of power capacity to build a charging station historically. We're able to lower that down drastically, about 70% to 300 homes worth of power. And the kind of inverse of that is what you said, which is if you want to add a battery system to an existing station, you can up-level the speed of charge for all the charging stations on site. And that's a great experience for EV drivers who want, of course, faster charging, more immediacy, better convenience for their charging experience.
Great, thanks.
Well, and that's what we're talking about too. Is how are we scaling, improving on the technology? And as you mentioned, it's just like, well, it was 2. Can you improve it to 4, 6, 8? I think the comment you just made about really kind of what are the analogies we can use for people to understand this stuff, right? Like, how long does it take to build a gas station? Like, you can see someone, again, they still build them today, which astonishes me, but it's happening. It's like, well, that can take months, right? And I think what is also the translation of the stations that went in, that you guys put in the ground in 54 days, those can fill up a car in like 20 minutes, essentially. That is a vast difference compared to a station that even might be installed at your workplace that could take a lot of time, maybe even more than 54 days, that's more like an overnight charge at your house. That, to me, speaks to the speed at which you can take the technology through what you've done to deploy it faster to create convenience. And to me, I think it's still, at the end of the day, that's so important, is that the convenience factor of drivers, and that's where it's in their mind first, is so important. So I guess to that end, what's next for you guys aside from scaling? I mean, you want to get more electric era stations out there. I mean, I get that part, but what is it you can see from your perspective for how's the technology improving, and how can you take even what you've done and deploy it today, and what's your vision for where that could be in, let's say, 5 years?
Well, I'll have to keep you all in suspense, but I will say that pay attention, because in October we're going to be announcing something very special, a complete re-envisioning of what EV fast charging should be, that provides a better personalized experience for the driver, that's more compelling, more exciting. Our goal is to do what Rivian and Tesla did to the automotive industry, to the historical charging industry, which is blocky, old, not very exciting, big boxes with lightning bolts on the side of it, as you said. We need to evolve that. We need to make it more exciting. We need to make it more compelling for the EV driver to take it up to the next level.
So so kind of rounding things out a bit, that's October, it's not now. How do they follow Electric Era and learn more about, like, if they want to know about this announcement, how are they going to find you guys? Yeah,
actually, good segue. We're having a driver event at our factory on Tuesday. This Tuesday, starting at, I think, 10 a.m. Show up at 10 a.m. and check-ins will start. And we're going to be doing demos of our technology. You can see it there. You'll be able to get a factory tour as well, meet members of our team. If you want to find out more details, just Google Electric Era, like my hat, Electric Era, and type in, Electric Era webinar. You'll be able to find the details and the location. You should sign up, come on by, meet a fantastic team that's super passionate about bringing advanced technology to your charging experience.
Anything else you want to add, Dan? Again, you're
I've
the local
been down to
guy.
the factory. It's awesome to see, especially something that's happening right here in Seattle that is super cutting edge. So if you can, and your friends and family, go check it out.
Well, I think what we're really showcasing, and Electrify Expo is a nationwide event series. Every city that Electrify Expo goes to, one of the things that happens is we get a chance to sit down with people that are on the front lines of making the industry happen. And the beauty of it is here in the Pacific Northwest, the localized approach to what's happening about infrastructure, everything we've talked about from even like policy today, you go down the list, it's happening here in the Pacific Northwest, and it's not just happening here, it's being developed here and then brought to the United States. That is a huge part of the conversation. Washington is on the front lines of getting this stuff done, and because of Electric Era and the work that you guys have been doing, we're talking about these game-changing pieces. So I'm looking forward to October. I want to know more. But for those of you that heard, make sure to go and check out Electric Era online. It's electricera.tech.
Yeah, electricera.tech.
Yeah, and
I see a future where when you're talking about Electric Era and they're from the Seattle area, you can say, well, there used to be another smaller company called like Amazon that was based there, but Electric Era is now ruling.
There you go. He just set a bar for you. I mean,
that's the
so
challenge.
there's that.
Challenge accepted.
Quincy,
challenge accepted.
accepted.
We're going to do it. We're going to beat Amazon. No.
Okay, this is going to be fun to watch. Okay, but this is the EV Reality Check powered by GreenCars.com here at Electrify Expo Seattle. Quincy Lee from Electrify. Thank you so much for coming by, dude. Keep up the great work, keeping everybody charged. But I got to say, October's coming. But sign up to go to your event on, is it Tuesday?
Tuesday. Yep.
Tuesday. All right, for those listening, we got some more conversations coming up here at the EV Reality Check.